Good afternoon. Today I would like to introduce Detective Shannon Dawson of Homicide. She will be providing an update into Homicide 41 of this year. Detective?
Good afternoon. I'm Detective Shannon Dawson with the Homicide Squad. I'm here today to provide you with an update for Homicide 41. The deceased, Simon Giannini, was a well-respected real estate broker and father of two. As you may be aware, on Saturday night, Mr. Giannini was in a restaurant downtown on Simcoe Street, dining with a friend. As he was dining, a suspect entered the restaurant and proceeded towards Mr. Giannini's table and shot Mr. Giannini. After this shooting, the suspect fled the restaurant and went out on Simcoe Street. He ran southbound on Simcoe Street to Pearl Street, where he got into a light-colored SUV and fled westbound on Pearl Street. Mr. Giannini was transported to the hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. I want to take this opportunity to thank the numerous members of the public who have come forward and provided us with valuable information on this investigation. I also want to thank the business community in the area of Simcoe Street, as they have been so cooperative, providing us with assistance and video to help in our investigation. Despite all of the information that has been forthcoming, I continue to ask the community to continue to assist us in this investigation. The purpose of my speaking to you today is to provide surveillance footage which captures the suspect and the suspect vehicle, the vehicle that the suspect fled in. If you have any information with regards to this investigation, now or after having watched the video, please contact me at the Homicide Squad at 416-808-7400, extension 77411, or at 52 Division at 416-808-5200. The video I will be showing you today is a compilation of 5 clips. This compilation will not show the actual shooting. In the first clip, you will see the suspect entering the restaurant and proceeding down a set of stairs. In this clip, you can clearly see that there is an emblem on the left side of the chest of the suspect's jacket. The second clip, you will see the suspect entering the front part of the restaurant and having some communication with a staff member. After that, the suspect proceeds into the dining and bar area. The third clip you see is after the shooting has occurred, and in this clip, the suspect is seen fleeing the restaurant. Clips 4 and 5 are footage of the suspect vehicle fleeing westbound on Pearl Street. When watching this video, it's very important to note that video distorts colors. So when we look at this video, it appears that the suspect is in very light-colored clothing. However, as a result of descriptions provided by witnesses, we know that that clothing is actually dark in color. So when looking at this video, don't just think about the color, but think about the emblems, especially that emblem on the jacket. I find that to be quite distinctive when thinking if this jogs your memory of anything. Witnesses have described the suspect as a male black with a medium build between approximately 5'7" to 5'11". And this is the video. Any questions?
Is this, do we believe that this was someone that was maybe hired to kill Mr. Giannini, or someone who knew him that had a beef with him? Would you know the shooter?
It is still very early in our investigation, and we are keeping all options open, and we aren't closed to either that it was someone that he knew or hired. We're looking at everything.
Any indication as to why someone would want to murder him? Any indication that he wasn't known to police, that he was involved in anything suspicious?
No, there's nothing to indicate he was involved in anything suspicious.
Detective, based on what we see here, and the owner of the restaurant speculated that maybe he had someone in his ear telling him which way to go in the restaurant, because he seems to know where the target is. Do you believe there might have been a second person who was inside that restaurant telling him where Mr. Giannini was sitting?
As I said before, we're keeping all options open, and there's nothing I can say to indicate that.
What, are you looking for maybe patrons of the restaurant who might be able to help you?
We're looking at everything. We're contacting all of the people who were in the restaurant, all of the members of the staff that night. And like I mentioned earlier, the community and people who were at the restaurant have been very forthcoming, as has the restaurant itself with the staff. Everybody's being very cooperative with us.
Can you clarify, so we don't see his face at all. You pretty much see his eyes. He walks into this restaurant, his face is concealed by this hood or this hoodie. And can you describe this emblem? Because it appears to be a bit hard to see. This is something that's an identifying factor.
Yes, so as you see him come down the stairs, it appears to me to be a B on his left chest, and it appears that there's another portion of an emblem on the other side.
And Detective, did he drive away in that car, that white SUV, or was someone waiting for him?
He got into the passenger side of that vehicle.
Have you recovered the vehicle? Or
No.
traced it anywhere?
We have not recovered the vehicle.
Do you have reasons to believe that the vehicle was stolen? Apparently some of the witnesses got plate numbers. You can see people chasing the vehicle down the street. I'm guessing you have a plate number. Do you know if that vehicle was stolen?
We're continuing in the investigation of the vehicle, and I'm not releasing any information about that at this time.
Can you describe the portion of the video that you are not releasing today? There's a chunk that is left out in terms of, it looks to be just a few seconds, but can you describe what happens when he goes behind the curtain?
That is when the shooting occurs.
But the interaction itself, is there, like, it doesn't look like he's gone very long from the frame.
Yes. Well, these are clips, obviously, so that portion has been removed.
So it's fair to say that it was a very brief encounter?
Yes, very brief encounter.
I know you said, Detective Dawson, there's nothing to suggest so far he was involved in anything suspicious. There are some reports out there that his brother was involved in criminal activity overseas. Any link? I'm trying to clarify, what we're trying to figure is why would someone want to hurt this man who, from what we've heard from many people, was a mentor to many people, a teacher, a well-known real estate professional?
And that is part of our investigation. We are looking at everything at this time.
This particular establishment, I mean, it's the second time that an execution or an attempted execution has happened here in less than 2 years. Is there anything about this particular restaurant that stands out in investigators' minds about who hangs out here?
Absolutely not. I don't see anything other than the fact that he happened to be having dinner there that night that would say that there's absolutely no relationship with that restaurant and the shooting as far as our investigation has shown at this point.
Have all the people you've asked to speak to been cooperative? Like the friend he was there with, was he there just with one other person at his table?
We have found, as I mentioned earlier, the witnesses in this investigation have been very cooperative.
Before he enters the restaurant, do you have him outside the restaurant for any period of time? Or does it appear he just goes straight in and straight out?
I'm not going to be sharing any more of our investigation in regards to that.
So is it the belief of police that Simon Giannini was absolutely targeted? It's not like this man came in looking for someone else, per se.
It appears that Mr. Giannini was targeted.
You know what he's doing with his hands as he comes down the stairs?
Pardon me?
What he's doing with his hands for that few seconds as he comes down the stairs?
It appears that he's covering his hands, if you watch it.
Just sunglasses? Was he wearing glasses, the suspect?
When you first look at the video, it does appear that there's a glare, which can look like sunglasses. But if you watch the video several times, it does not appear like sunglasses. It just appears to be like a reflection of the eyes. And that's something I really want to stress, that video can manipulate things. On first glance, it does potentially look at like sunglasses. Of course, we've watched it numerous times. And the video can manipulate things, and especially the color. So when people are thinking about this jacket, I want them to be thinking of it as a dark colored jacket and dark pants.
What's he doing with his hands as he's walking down the stairs? I know someone sort of just asked that, but what was your answer? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
To me, it appears as though he's pulling his sleeves down, but it would be, anybody can look at that video and say what it appears to them as.
Detective, can you describe the weapon? Witnesses told many of us that when this suspect here walked out, he had a gun, a handgun in his hand.
Yes, a gun was used.
A handgun.
A handgun.
And police haven't recovered that weapon. It wasn't dropped off somewhere.
No.
I want to ask you as well, of course, in the entertainment district, there's a lot of the Toronto Police CCTV, the surveillance cameras. Any indication where he came from? You were able to track his movements leading up to arriving at the restaurant?
That is part of our investigation, and I'm not going to be revealing that information at this time.
Any idea how many people were in that car he got into, just a driver?
Again, as part of our investigation, I'm not going to be really revealing that at this time.
And what about the companion that the victim was having dinner with that night? Is that person the person addressed or suspect in this case?
No, he's not.
Do you know if any words were exchanged? Can you expand on that at all?
Again, I'm not going to comment on that.
Detective, where the shooting happened, there's some windows right behind there. In the daytime, they reflect back, but I'm wondering, at night, even in that shot, you can kind of sort of see it. Is it possible that there could be somebody spotting out on the street looking in from there? Have you looked at that?
Sorry, go on.
Go ahead, sorry.
As I mentioned earlier, we're looking at everything, and it's a thorough investigation, and we're looking at every possibility.
Detective, any shell casings recovered? Do you know if it was a revolver or an automatic that was used?
I'm not going to be sharing that information.
So just to restate, you've got some really good images here of a suspect. What do you ask, anybody who sees this video, what are you asking them to do again?
So I'm asking people to look at this video critically and carefully, considering the fact that the clothing is darker than what it appears in the video, and if they can think about if that jacket, if they know anything about that jacket or anyone, if they've seen somebody with that jacket that matches the description that we've provided, a male, black, medium build between 5'7" and 5'11", and even to watch the suspect's gait, the combination of clothing, if that brings forward any information.
Is this a good tool for you? I mean, when it comes to video surveillance, we've seen a lot of it. We see it in almost every investigation. Are you happy with the quality of this video, or is the fact that this suspect is so covered up really, I mean, is it going to make it difficult to identify?
Being covered up does, it would obviously be easier if his entire face was showing, but it is a good tool, and we really hope that people do look at this and really think about it and are able to provide us with some information.
Is there any indication of any accent on the shooter when he said anything?
I'm not going to be sharing that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That
Thank
concludes
you.
today's conference. The video will be available on the Toronto Police website.
Okay, that was an update from Toronto Police.